You know a film is bad when you're judging the cornflakes. This review is going to be so disjointed because reasons. This family is already annoying me. They're having financial issues and they're arguing about it, but when their nearly grown son walks in the kitchen, they hide it and act like everything is all good. For what? He's not 8 years old. I'm sure he can tell that some shit is happening. That's so irritating. To be fair, sometimes parents tell their kids a little too much. Like your kindergartner doesn't need to know that you had to call and make payment arrangements on the water bill. That's too much. But when your kid's getting ready to go to college, I'm pretty sure it's fair enough to teach him that financial hardships happen and also teach him how to deal with it, because in a few short years he's gonna have to deal or possibly have to deal with something like that himself. I don't see the point or the purpose of hiding something like that from someone who looks to be 17, 18 years old. It would have come off more realistic if this was like a 12-year-old, maybe. Anyways, in this story, father gets killed, the mother continues to have financial difficulties, to which her rich sister says, hey, you guys can stay in our vacation home, which I'm sitting here thinking why her sister didn't help her more than that if they've been having financial issues for such a long time. Secondly, wait, let's go back to this financial issue thing. Come to find out the father's a plumber. How are you having financial issues if the father is a plumber? Do you know how much plumbers get paid? Have you ever had to call a plumber? Do you know how much just for them to come and look at the problem you have to pay them? If he's having financial difficulties, I'm wondering, is he a plumber that sucks? Because plumbers get paid. I know people who own their own business and one of their biggest investors is a plumber who makes well over $100,000 a year. So dad's a plumber and he's not getting, I'm just trying to figure out what are you doing wrong in life? Anyways, that's a side note. What was I saying? He dies, the mom and the son go to stay in the aunt's vacation home, which is ugly as hell. I'm sorry. Every house, just because it's big or it's like a mansion, they're not always pretty. This house is ugly as hell. I hate the decor. I hate the kitchen floor. That rhymed. I don't like ugly decor. Especially when you have money to have beautiful decor. Why make an ugly mansion? Why build an ugly mansion? It doesn't even make sense to me. I bet the Winchester house was prettier than this house. While I'm complaining about this movie, they shouldn't even call this open house. They should call it False Scare the movie. Other irritations. When the mother went to the basement to relight the pilot light barefoot. Why are you walking around barefoot in a basement? Ew. I'm a slippers person. I can't help it. I've had slippers since I was old enough to no longer wear footy pajamas. I don't walk around barefoot. Walking around barefoot is so gross to me. I guess I'm bougie like that. At the halfway point, the kid's phone is missing, the neighbor is crazy, and someone keeps turning off the pilot light. Sounds exciting, doesn't it? Pilot light cannot turn itself off, and despite these things, they just continue to sit there in the bullshit. Anyway, they're out. I think they went out to lunch or something, or they're driving the car. I can't remember. The realtor calls them and tells them someone has broken in the house. Rather than going directly to the police station, they go directly to the house, because that's what you do. At this point, I'm already thinking, fuck this family, fuck this movie. There is a security system on the wall next to the front door, but I guess you're not supposed to notice that because they never once use it. At one point, and I might be out of order as I'm saying these things, but at one point they go to like a neighborhood store and there's a dude there that's flirting with the mom, and the kid is hella disrespectful to the dude. And it's like, yeah, I get it, your dad is dead, but let your mom live. Or just don't be a rude asshole. How am I supposed to root for you and you're not a likable person? I'm rooting for the killer at this time. This movie goes from bad to worse. I forgot to mention that there's a dude hiding in the house during this whole time, because that's why it's called open house. I guess, you know, the auntie's trying to sell the house, she has an open house, someone comes in during the open house and never leaves. That's the impetus for this story. Anyways, this fool is hiding in the basement and just doing annoying shit to people, like turning off the pilot light when they're in the shower and moving their cornflakes. Like, where the hell are you fucking with people's cornflakes? And I apologize again if this review is disjointed, because normally I talk about the technical aspects, talk about the screenplay and the acting and cinematography and that type of thing. But since this movie was so disrespectful to my intelligence as to not have a good story, likable protagonist, any scares or gore, then I'm gonna have a disrespectful review of it. They put no effort into telling you a cohesive story. I'm gonna put no effort into giving you a cohesive review. On second thought, I will at least mention the sound design people and give the director some of his props, because the way he shot it looked good, even though the house was ugly as hell. But the sound design people, they put their foot in this. The first time this movie was playing, I was in my room, my sister was playing it in the living room on a surround sound, so I was actually taking a nap, and I heard the movie first and I thought to myself, man, that sounds like a good movie, because the sound design was so good. But watching the movie, I'm like, yeah, The sound people did their job, everybody else. Someone should tell this director that they are a very good director, but they can't write for shit because the story was garbage. Let's take a look at some of the story choices. Spoiler alert, because fuck this movie. This killer is so lame, all he does is hide cell phones, turn off the hot water, and move your cornflakes. And please tell me that you noticed that when the boy came back, not only was his cornflakes bowl moved, but it looked like they were freshened up, because when he walked away from the bowl, those cornflakes were kind of soggy. But when he came back, they looked like they were freshly poured cornflakes. I mean, that's probably just a continuity error. But, so anyways, the dude does flirting with the mom, comes by the house, and of course, being that he's a black dude, he gets killed. The killer knocks the boy out and then pours cold water on his ass and leaves him outside in the snow. Then he leaves some photographs on the mom's nightstand and climbs into bed with her and waits for her to wake up to view the photos. After she views the photos and she notices that he's in the bed behind her, he knocks her out and ties her to a chair. See how I'm even bored recounting the movie back to you? That's a damn shame. Oh yeah, he breaks her fingers. For what reason, who knows? No, I mean, none of this makes sense. Then the boy goes into the basement and the killer throws the mom towards him, who he stabs thinking she's the killer. Then, because this killer is not annoying enough, you know, playing with cereal and stealing cell phones, breaking people's fingers, he holds the boy down and takes his contact lenses out, which is stupid because you could pretty much, he doesn't even have to hold his eye open. How do you take somebody's contact lens out and they don't immediately close their eyes? Like that alone, it would have made more sense to have him break his glasses at the last minute or something like that. It was just stupid. Then he lets the boy loose in the forest only to come and find him and kill him the next day. Now the stupid thing about this whole movie is that at the very beginning of the movie they set up that, oh, he's a track star, he's so good, he might be good enough to make the Olympics, but during the whole time of the killer stalking him, he doesn't really run or use any of his track skills. So what the fuck was the purpose of setting him up to be a track star? And then the movie doesn't tell you anything about the killer. Who is the killer? That's what it is. There was no reveal for the killer. Who is he? Why is he doing what he's doing? This movie is trash. And what a great waste of production value. We had a great score, a decent location, as ugly as it may be, great sound design. It looked like you had the money to do what you needed to do, except pay writers. Hire a writer, pay a writer, use writers. Every director is not a writer-director. Some of y'all are just directors, just be that. Or some of y'all just being greedy. I think that's what it is. It's greed. You want 2 paychecks and you just end up making trash. Because, I mean, I'm not gonna say the director is not a bad director, but you can't write for shit because I'm just gonna leave it at you can't write for shit. So that's 3 for 3 so far with me watching Netflix movies. I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in a House, boring trash. Hush, boring trash. The Open House, boring trash. Can't remember if Little Evil was. I think Little Evil was also a Netflix original. That was not boring and it wasn't trash, but it wasn't super excellent either. It was just okay. Little Evil was just okay. And The Babysitter was just okay. I've never felt so drained giving a review. Like more drained than actually watching the movie. That's a first for me. But like I always say, just because I love something doesn't mean you won't hate it. Just because I hate something doesn't mean you won't love it. Did you make it through the open house? And what did you think?